Okay, the live stream is up. Okay, the live stream is up.
Let's give one more minute before we start. Okay, sige. Since magiging recorded naman yung video, so I hope the others will be able to find this in YouTube Live in Quizlet. So let's start. I'll be introducing to you guys, students, our next speaker, Mr. Limuel King L. Estorque. He's an executive assistant in network planning and design sa Manila Electric Company, as we know, Meralco. Okay? And yung talk niya today will be getting ahead of the curve, the role of Triple E in enabling the modernization of the electric power system. So this talk is specially made for you guys sa EE. I guess ito yung ating first resource speaker talking about the industry applications of EE. Kaya medyo exciting siya. And kanina nagkikwentuhan kami ni Sir dahil nga may bagyo and may mga power outages, buti nga nag-push through itong seminar. And right now, he's actually out of the field. And maybe pwede niya ikwento mamaya bakit mas importante yung role nila today, especially kapag may mga typhoons and may mga disasters. So it will also give you guys an idea about the nature of work sa mga EE when you go to Meralco. So without further ado, let me introduce to you Engineer Limuel King L. Estorque. Sir Limuel.
Good afternoon, guys. Thank you for this kind introduction po, Sir Chris Ron. So, hope you are all doing well, staying at home, especially today with the inclement weather condition po. And thank you for inviting me for this afternoon's EEE 190 talk. So, as mentioned po kanina ng Sir Chris Ron, my name is Limuel Kinestorque. I am a graduate of EEE Institute, bachelor's degree in 2013 and master's degree in 2016. So I'm currently working po as an executive assistant to the head of network planning and design. I have 7 years of foundational knowledge and work experience in the field of network planning. And I'm here to give a talk, sort of mix of technical and career discourse on what are the roles of our engineers, especially as in EEE, in promoting sustainability, especially in the field of electric power industry. So the main tagline of this talk is getting ahead of the curve. So medyo relevant po siya nowadays with the impact po ng COVID-19 pandemic. So we have terms na flattening the curve. Getting ahead of the curve means proactive planning. There's a need to plan ahead. Business nowadays are creating their own continuity management plans to minimize risk on their operation. But I also want to put into perspective the continuous need to innovate to ensure that we keep tabs of what's currently happening in our society and our current landscape, so we are not left behind. So to set everything into context, here's the energy outlook in our region, Southeast Asia. So by 2040, the consumption in Southeast Asia is set to double. So as we all know, electricity is very vital to sustain the economic progress and activities, especially for developing countries like the Philippines. So yung residential sector sees the largest growth in the electricity usage, and mag-i-increase pa to with the impact of COVID-19. So because more people are staying at home due to flexible arrangements such as work from home and online education. So very dynamic or very nag-grow yung energy market in Southeast Asia. So overall demand has increased with millions of new customers gaining access to electricity. And however, yung pag-increase ng electricity consumption in the region has put pressure on our energy systems. And with the continuous use of fossil fuels in our supply to meet or to accommodate the demand growth, CO2 emissions have also risen. So the energy mix in the Southeast Asia region has historically been dominated by fossil fuels such as coal in Indonesia, in our country, the Philippines, Malaysia, and oil and gas in Vietnam, Thailand, and Singapore. And CO2 emissions would increase due to industrialization and urbanization in the region. So as shown in the chart on the right, the largest contributor of greenhouse gas emissions is coming from the energy sector or by electricity production. So with the absence of any decarbonization policy or technology, energy-related greenhouse gas emissions in the region will almost double by 2040. It will also reach around 2.4 gigatons in 2 decades. So this will actually worsen the global warming situation, and it will potentially threaten the prosperity in our region, especially that Southeast Asia is among the vulnerable countries in the world in terms of the impact of climate change. So ito po yung issue, ito yung main problem natin if we remain at the status quo. However, there's a shift in the paradigm shift actually in the electricity system with the introduction of innovative technologies across the board, disrupting the traditional supply chain from the generation sector hanggang sa beyond the meter or yung sa customer side na. So, paving the way for this future energy landscape, these are the 3Ds. These are the three drivers leading the game-changing disruption in the industry. So these are the decarbonization, decentralization, and digitalization. So first point, decarbonization. So the climate change is an imminent and serious threat that can be addressed through decarbonization of the system. And the world is now at its critical point and we cannot stay on the same path when it comes to energy production and consumption. So therefore, policies to promote renewable energies have resulted in the growth of renewables at a global scale. However, while decarbonization is essential for the future of energy, we must still consider the need to provide affordable and reliable forms of electricity. So meron na pong nakaset ng mga government regulations and policies in place to help enable the global energy transition to a lower carbon future. Second is decentralization, or we can call also this as democratization of energy. Actually, it is projected that it will happen on a bigger scale in the coming years with advancements in solar technology and small-scale energy resources such as battery solutions. And this will be our driving force to lessen the cost of investments for renewables. So just like how Google democratized knowledge, Amazon democratized commerce, and Uber democratized transportation, there's a way to democratize energy supply to facilitate access of power as well as flexibility to choose the source of power. So these small-scale resources, or what we call as distributed generation, will be the key to democratize energy supply. Initially, the area of concern would be the cost effectiveness and scalability of these resources. However, utility-scale solar and wind projects are now economically viable due to the sharp decline in the price of solar panels and wind turbines. And additionally, rapid innovations in battery technology will also drive consumer level and small scale storage applications. And due to the rise of these technologies and the steady increase of more renewables in the system, a new buzzword is out describing the growing shift in how we power our homes and communities. So kung familiar ka sa word na prosumers, simply put, the public is no longer just the recipient of energy, but is also starting to generate their own power from these resources. And this shift is actually causing blurred lines on the distinction between the power generation and the end user consumption at the customer level. And third, last point is digitalization. So the future of energy will enable digital technologies to provide infra for more flexible, intelligent, connected, and responsive energy systems. So this innovation, such as smart metering, smart sensors, automation, and other digital technologies, are actually entering the power distribution business at a drastic pace, rather. Among other innovations, there are Internet of Things and surge of power-consuming connected devices for smart homes and smart houses are actually showing promise of transforming the power business in the near future. So if you're familiar with the Internet of Things, ito yung actually industrial revolution or Industry 4.0, it has a potential to significantly transform the power sector by optimizing the operations, managing asset performance, and engaging customers to lower energy costs. And actually, the power sector is already reaping the benefits from early consumer-oriented IoT applications such as the AMI. If you're familiar with the project of Morocco, the Corriente Load, so these are actual prepaid retail electricity service for the customers. So this transformation has actually led to many utilities to strategize on adopting these technologies to stay competitive and relevant. So if you have seen the slide, these three Ds actually act as in a synergy. So it's a cycle supporting and reinforcing the developments beyond their individual contribution. So decarbonization sets the long-term goal on carbon reduction sustainability goals to promote a relevant share of REs in the system. Decentralization makes the customers an active component of the power industry. And digitalization supports both by enabling more monitoring control, real-time optimization of production and consumption, and more interaction with the customers. So this is the future energy system in a glimpse. So more roles, actually there are more roles for different stakeholders, incorporating customer-facing technologies in the system. So still maintaining the traditional assets such as the generation sector and transmission and distribution lines. But you'll incorporate more technologies which are smarter, more decentralized, yet more connected electricity system to improve the reliability, security, sustainability, asset utilization, and will open also new opportunities for services and business in the power industry. So customers in the future energy system will use grid edge technologies and services to produce, consume, and store and sell electricity. So hindi na lang yung mga customers natin, hindi na lang siya na recipient of energy or will consume. They have also the opportunity to produce their own power. So they will also take advantage of the automated technologies and analytics to influence customer consumption and contribute to new customer services. So ano nga ba yung rate of adoption of these technologies? Sabi nila it will follow a typical S curve as we have seen po with the previous technologies such as TVs, appliances, computers, and their internet. So in the past few decades, the time to reach the point of mass adoption has decreased to about 15 to 20 years. So kung susundan natin to, maybe in 2 decades time, ma-reach na natin yung mass adoption of these great edge technologies. So it actually worth noting that the system or the utilities will face a great risk of values destruction if it fails to capture the rips or to capture the benefits of these technologies, which could also result into stranded network assets and eventually customer defection from the system. So the key to avoid uh, these things to happen is through modernization, keeping up with the customer needs, making significant changes to their models, in their process, innovation to develop and provide new services for the customers. So power companies now are facing unprecedented challenges and customer expectations, which mean these companies must operate, maintain, and modernize their system and business models to cope with the transformation. So globally, in a global scale, utilities are addressing these challenges through the implementation of advanced network technologies and customer solutions, or what we call collectively as the smart grid. So in layman's term, smart grid is an application of digital technology in the electric system to enable two-way communication, which allows real-time monitoring, analytics, control, to help improve the reliability and efficiency, and also to reduce energy consumption or cost. And the system will actually have self-healing capability. So in the next few slides, I'll discuss into detail what are the experiences, my experiences with regards to our integration and the initiatives of the distribution utilities, specifically in Morocco, to tap these technologies and to promote inclusive growth in our quest to search sustainability means of meeting our power requirements. So this is the traditional electric power distribution system. It is actually planned and designed to operate radially. Hence, electricity flows from one direction, from high voltage utility source down to the end users. So for Meralco's scope of operation, it is actually from the sun transmission level, which is actually the backbone of the distribution system of Meralco. And ito rin yung interface with the transmission grid of NGCP up to the last mile customers or end users. So as a system planning engineer, our mandate is to provide adequate, cost-effective, and efficient network plans to satisfy customer requirements and conform to applicable local and international standards and practices. So this is to provide adequate network infra to meet the forecasted growth in peak demand and customer connections. And these CapEx plans actually support the long-term roadmap or long-term strategy of Meralco. It's also contained in its 10-year DDB, distribution development, which is to build a resilient and intelligent network infra for a sustainable future. So with the proliferation of distributed generating resources in the network, there's a paradigm shift from a traditional centralized model into a distributed and localized power generation scheme. So the significant growth of DG has challenged many traditional planning framework which it relies. So DGs are creating two-way power, and it has changed several aspects in the utility planning process, such as system planning, protection coordination, and other operational requirements and processes. So nowadays, we are actually experiencing an increase of DG interconnections from hundreds of megawatts connection to all new solar rooftop and to a smaller scale net metering applications. So particularly, these are variable renewable facilities or VREs such as solar PV and some wind turbines. So this is primarily attributed on government initiatives and policies to promote clean energy resources and to provide robust energy security for the country. So these drivers of DG growth have significantly increased interconnection requests to the utility and have also overwhelmed the utility interconnection process. So to address this, Meralco adopted a well-designed interconnection process through screen reviews and detailed impact studies to better facilitate DG growth in the franchise area. So in effect, using this, Meralco sustain and improve the timeliness and effectiveness of interconnecting proposed generating facilities with the customers in the system. However, increasing adoption of distributed generation will pressure utilities to accurately ensure the safe and reliable operation of the network and to expedite the interconnection process. So the integration of these resources at that distribution level actually poses a unique set of benefits and challenges to the customers and the utility. So hindi lang siya puro benefits, meron ring challenges na dapat kaharapin yung may utility. So this can play an important role in the improvement of network reliability, reduction of losses, providing voltage support and improvement in the power quality. However, interconnection of high levels of RE in the network raises significant technical issues. So yung mga utilities, they establish technical studies or they perform technical studies based on various technical criteria to ensure that the interconnection of these resources will not degrade the performance of the system. So ito yung mga potential adverse impacts niya nung RE integration at the distribution level. So it would have an impact on the thermal loading, power flows both in normal state and during contingencies. So it also an impact on the voltage control, voltage regulation to ensure that the voltage can be properly maintained rather within the prescribed limits. Third, impact on power quality. So to check the quality of the voltage, frequency, the current of with the interconnection of the embedded generation in the system. So high penetration of DERs or distributed generation may affect adversely the power quality, raising issues such as voltage fluctuations, flicker severity, and harmonics. So it also an impact on the short circuit level, the fault level in feed, and without proper sizing of the protection equipment, pwedeng ma-exceed yung mga levels na to. So embedded generators contribute to short circuit current during faults or contingencies. So it also an impact on the control and safety of the personnel. So ang iniiwasan natin dito yung mga anti-islanding. So it would have an impact on it would compromise the safety of field crews if this is not properly addressed. So the DU, or specifically the distribution utilities, performs distribution impact studies. So to assess the possible impacts of this RE integration in the system so that they will not degrade or affect the operation of the system kahit nakakonect sila. So if the DU determines that it is feasible and the impacts of this RE can be contained, distribution asset study or DAS is performed to identify the needed assets, the required assets, and any requirements for the interconnection of these facilities in the system. This is the current dilemma in the interconnection process. So it is still largely reactive. So basically, we are still waiting. Wala kaming visibility on the number or the capacity of the REs to be installed in the system. So the reactive nature of the approach would become a problem when we are in the scenario that we are assessing high volumes of DG interconnection. So isipin nyo na lang pag halos lahat ng commercial establishments ay magkakabit ng rooftop. So basically, it would strain the interconnection process of the utilities. So forward-looking, to better facilitate the interconnection of high levels in the network, high levels of DG in the network, we should be considering the transition from reactive planning approach to proactive planning. So these approaches were considered by many industry players and researchers through the application of various methods and state-of-the-art techniques. And most efforts have led to the assessment of what we call as the DG hosting capacity. So hosting capacity is defined as the maximum penetration of DG or aggregate capacity of DG that can be accommodated without causing adverse impacts to the network. So hosting capacity is indeed an optimization problem wherein the analysis should return that the maximum amount of DG capacity, considering that the technical issues or constraints in the network, such as voltage regulation, thermal loading, power quality, would not be violated. So actually, this is the main issue or main problem that I addressed or that I would like to address when I did my graduate studies in 2015 or 2016. So my objective in my master's thesis is to create a tool that can be used by utilities to proactively determine the amount of utility scale or centralized DG facilities that may be interconnected to the network. So this is to incorporate hosting capacity analysis in the interconnection of distributed generation or DERs to actually streamline and to eventually automate the interconnection process. So those short-term modification to screening rules nowadays can be an effective approach to streamline interconnection at low penetration levels. It will quickly breaks down as the penetration of DG increases. So the result or there's a need to a more tailored circuit-specific screening tool for the DG interconnection process, wherein the proposed DG facilities that fall under the available hosting capacity through this heat map can be quickly processed. And while projects that exceed the hosting capacity would require further analysis. Aside from my participation in international conference due to my the result of my graduate studies, actually in 2018 I was also given an opportunity to have a 5-day face-to-face training in Berlin. So as part of the CAPREC program, so Capacity Development on Renewable Energy and Grid Integration. So it was provided by RENAC or Renewables Academy. So they offer scholarships for several trainings on RE and grid integration for professionals in Southeast Asia, so Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, and in Latin America, so Mexico, Peru, and Ecuador. So that actually the training revolves around the knowledge of or the vision of Germany to transition into 100% renewable energy by increasing the shares of renewable energy resources in their system and to decommission nuclear energy. So, magpo-promote na rin ako, sir. So, this is also one of the advantages of taking up graduate studies actually. So, looking back, the graduate program helped me to develop my skill sets on research and analysis that I've been able to adapt and apply to my current work. So, the specialized knowledge that you would gain in graduate studies is a lifelong learning, and a tip, eventually you need to take up a graduate study for career advancement. So it's better that as early as now you set the goal to take graduate school. So transitioning from my own perspective or experience on R integration. So may initiatives naman yung mga distribution utilities natin such as Meralco. So they're already leading the implementation of smart grid technologies in their jurisdiction to facilitate the integration of more REs in the system. So actually, this is the enabler of our integration, the smart grid. And according to the Smart Grid Index developed by Singapore Power, which is a measure of smartness of grids with respects to these 7 key dimensions: monitoring control through SCADA, DMS, application of data analytics, supply reliability in the network, DR integration. And also we have the application of green energy projects such as electric vehicles and solar PVs. And also how robust the security in the network, the IT and OT security, and also customer empowerment. So we actually Meralco ranks 52nd out of the 75 utilities with a score of 54%. So Meralco adopts a long-term smart grid technology roadmap to modernize the system. So smart devices and systems are deployed in the network to provide the visibility to monitor, manage network operations and assets in real time to address changing loads, generation, and outage event. So Meralco is implementing smart grid with the following pillars. ANA, so Advanced Network Automation, it's actually focused on the system, on the grid itself. And AMI, so it's actually focused on customer empowerment and experience. So AMI refers to the integrated system of smart meters, communication infra, back-end systems to enable two-way communication between the utilities and customers. So basically with AMI, uh, it will actually empower the customer and to choose their own source of power when ARCOA roll out. The advanced network automation refers to the deployment of smart devices and systems over the network for the real-time monitoring and management of operations and assets to address changing loads, and especially during fault conditions in the system. So here are other initiatives under ANA. So we have mobility solutions, so using of mobile devices to accomplish business tasks. It is especially made for our field crews so that they can be timely address or they can timely address troubles in the system. Asset performance management is used for asset condition, deployment of sensors, to apply analytics to optimize asset utilization. So we also have at the substation level, substation automation using IEC 61850 compliant. So this use fiber optics in their communication network. So Meralco also has the power tech. This is actually the country's first innovation R&D and technical training facility featuring a smart grid setup. So there. And we also have future projects for systems such as distributed energy resources integration and demand response. So future projects po to. So some applications po, Meralco recognized that the energy storages or battery energy storage will actually play a crucial role in effectively integrate more REs in the future. So in preparing for the grid of the future, Meralco is continuously exploring emerging technologies that may improve our operations. So Meralco actually piloted the Philippines' first grid-scale distribution connected battery energy storage system through the installation of two 1 megawatt lithium-based BESS units in San Rafael, Bulacan. So this enables to assess the visibility of integrating battery storage technologies into the grid to improve electric power system. So also aligned with the sustainability agenda of Morocco towards 100% electrification within the franchise area, Meralco also continued to deliver its service to far-flung areas through microgrid solutions, so leveraging solar and energy storage technologies. So Meralco activated its first solar battery microgrid at Isla Verde, Batangas, and a hybrid microgrid in Cagbalete Island. Then I would also like to put an emphasis here. So actually, no smart grid is ever going to be absolutely impenetrable. So smart grid can be a prime target to cyber terrorism because of its critical nature. Therefore, cybersecurity shall be the core of an effective smart grid infra. And you need to modernize the system to enhance customer and utilities ability to monitor, control, and predict energy usage. So there's a need for a secure enterprise level architecture in defending against potential blackouts. So as an example, there's a cyber attack in Ukraine in 2015. So the hackers were able to successfully compromise the IS, the information systems of three energy distribution companies, which actually causes a 6-hour blackout. So the hackers temporarily disrupted the electricity supply to the end consumers by compromising the corporate networks. They control the SCADA systems, remotely switching off the substations and disrupting IT infrastructure, and also denying consumers up-to-date real-time information during the blackout. So cybersecurity measures will also prove to be more essential nowadays as we spend more time online. So we have virtual meetings like this, remote working setup, online payment and transactions. This actually caused or due to physical distancing and other health protocols. So the business disruption caused by the current pandemic has created several cybersecurity risks that need to be addressed by the utilities. So to end, here's my key takeaways. So the change in the market landscape of the utilities is inevitable, and the traditional framework and planning is no longer sufficient. So we in Triple E as engineers has a crucial role to play to achieve these goals of having a sustainable source of energy to power our future. And we must equip ourselves with competencies on using innovative technologies to speed up adaptation of smart grid infra in the grid. So in closing, let me underscore our commitment in managing the energy issues and in tapping the existing and state-of-the-art techniques or technologies in the addressing these issues. And there's actually energy revolution is actually here, and we will act with a sense of urgency as a steward in promoting sustainable development to our country. So that's all. Thank you for listening.
All right, thank you, Sir Limwen. Actually, nakagulat yung ano, this is my first time to see those kinds of data and presentation, especially on the EE side. So ang dami niyo na palang ginagawa actively addressing yung distributed generation and planning ahead. Um, so that explains kung bakit nasa fieldwork kayo ngayon kahit maulan. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I think
Actually,
um, and
actually, yun po
gusto ko
yung
sana itanong.
sige
Go
po, sir.
ahead, sir.
Actually, yun yung
Um,
mandate namin as Meralco engineers na even na may typhoon, mas kailangan kami pumasok kasi due to its impact on our facilities. So we need to keep the lights on during the typhoon. So we are in field doing damage assessment, emergency operations. So to keep electric service in our franchise area on always.
I see. So, gusto ko lang itanong, sir, kasi may mix tayo ng COE, ECE, and EE ngayon sa 190. Is there a ongoing trend ng pag-hire nyo? Nagdadagdag ba kayo ng COE, ECE? Kasi tulad ng nasabi nyo, nag-change na kayo to smart grids. And this type of field, I think medyo mas nauna yung kabilang field, yung COE and ECE, especially cybersecurity, natatouch yun ng COE, I think.
Yes.
So if ever those graduates from this class or from future classes ng COE, ECE, and EE, what would they expect when they apply on your team? Ano yung mga skill set na kailangan nyo?
Actually, I'm not familiar with the hiring ng Meralco. Pero as my own perspective, we are revolutionizing the energy system. So, yung electric grid natin nag-evolve. So, hindi lang particularly EE skills yung kailangan. So, meron na siya dapat touch with digital technology, which also our friends in COE and ECE have their yun yung unique expertise nila. So, yun lang, technical expertise, katulad nga ng nabanggit ko kanina, cybersecurity is a trend now. So, kung ito siguro yung dapat i-touch ng ating mga ECE or COE graduates. Also, di ko lang nabanggit kanina, yung EV integration, our electric vehicles, actually, they will also be part of the smart grid community. So, our electric vehicles can be a they can be integrated to the electric system to be for battery storage solution. So pwedeng maging dual flow na rin with the integration of electricity. Although yung electric vehicles, positive disruption siya sa utility actually kasi nag-i-increase siya ng load. Pero they can also act pag nagkaroon na ng vehicle to grid integration, they can also be a source of power, not just a load.
Alright. Thank you, sir. So sa ngayon, pwede natin entertain yung mga questions. Students, anyone, especially on the EE and yung mga nag-attend din ng lecture kanina. So, ano yung mga tanong nyo? Anyone?
Nasashy pa yata sila, sir. I'll take a look at the...
Okay lang yan. Ganyan rin
Oo
ako
nga
ng
eh.
estudyante.
Wala pa ring questions over the live stream on YouTube.
Sige. Ano pa bang pwede natin yan? So, yung pinakita nyo pala, sir, kanina na S-shape na curve on the technology, sino nag-estimate nun? Sino nagpa-project nun? Is there someone from your team in the time nung nung technologies no?
Yung adoption po, sir? Yung
Yeah.
parang S-curve po?
Yeah.
Actually, the DOE, the Department of Energy, has already released yung smart grid roadmap for the country. So, ang target is by 2040, yun nga, mass adoption na siya. So, naka-align siya dun sa study na kinonduct sa World Electricity Forum. So, yun nga, in-expect nila na in 2 decades, in 20 years time, mass adoption na siya. So, utilities have to prepare with the entrants or the entries of these technologies. So, in our part, meron rin kaming smart grid roadmap. So, ano lang siya, yung pinasend ko kanina, it's an overview. So, yung detailed smart grid projects, technologies, is actually part of the 10-year distribution development of the Meralco na also annually sinasabit namin sa DOE.
Yeah, I think we should have more courses about the distribution market kasi kukunti lang ata yung courses na ino-offer sa EEE. Yeah.
Tama.
Any further questions, students? All right. So I guess we can wrap this up, sir. Thank you for attending and sa pagpa-unlock niyo ng aming invitation. So if ever may questions yung mga students natin, I think will you be available to for consultation sa email, Sir Limuel?
Sure, pinost ko yung na tinanggal ko lang yung share screen pero pinost ko sa last slide yung email ko. So for students or somebody na would like to seek a consultation or any information that I could help, they are free to contact me through my email.
Thank you, sir. Mukhang may gustong humabol na magtatanong.
Hello, John Kendrick.
Yeah, you can just unmute yourself.
Wait lang. Hindi ko sure kung related sa... Wait, narinig po? Okay.
Yes. Go ahead.
Sobrang off topic nga, I think. Kasi partially yung bahay na pinagsistayan ko, actually, solar powered siya. Partially. Yung parts kasi minsan sa Meralco, particularly yung billing, pag bumaba ng sobra yung power consumption, kunyari, normally 1,200 kilowatt hour ata yung total. Tapos nung bumaba ng 800, may times na naging zero yung billing. Apparently because of something. Yung average, may parang average thing. Oh my God, wait lang. Sobrang
Off topic, di ba?
sobrang off topic.
So,
Nag-quiz ako
tatanong,
bigla dun sa distributed generation. Kasi hindi ako sure kung may part kami anyway since partially nga naka-solar yung bahay. Tapos, dumadaan siya sa inverter. May inverter na diadaan. Di ko alam kung may part kami doon in any way. Since may ano kami, may ways kami para mag-generate ng power, which is yung solar power. Automatic
so,
ba yun? Sorry.
sorry, anong question ulit? Kung,
Yung distributed generation na slides kanina. Kasi di ba mostly yung Meralco yung nag-distribute ng power to, users or, mostly sa mga bahay. But what if yung mga tao na yon may ways sila mag-generate ng power, kunyari solar, usually sa mga roofs ng bahay nila. Na ano ba ng Meralco yun? Titignan nila directly.
yung binabanggit nyo actually is part of the net metering rules. So with the net metering rules, yung mga household natin, yung mga houses, they can also install RE facilities not greater than 100 kilowatt capacity. So with that, they can also have the means to generate their own power. So if in cases that kunwari mas mataas yung generation nila during afternoon kaysa dun sa house load nila, there's a backflow on the consumer level, customer level. So, i-credit yun sa billing actually. So, actually, pinopromote yun ng utility. May mga rules tayo dyan. However, yun nga lang, dapat ipaalam kay Meralco kasi marami tayong issues with regard sa installation of solar facilities. So,
that's only if mas malaki yung generate namin power kasi sa load na usually ginagamit namin.
Yun lang po yung yung may possible na yung magkaroon ng source of power from their end, from their premises. But
sorry.
Sige po.
Sige daw. Kasi as of now kasi nasira yung inverter, so right now di kami nakakagamit. Pero on average kasi pag gumamit kami ng solar, nababawasan yung energy consumption namin by 33%.
Okay.
Kaya siya nagpa-fluctuate minsan yung bill namin. Kasi, may times na zero, wala kang babayaran. Because apparently may utang daw yung bayaran ko. Because of averaging stuff. Averaging na ginagawa.
Okay. So, actually, regarding din sa commercial arrangements, I'm actually not familiar with the commercial arrangements. Pero yun nga, may impact nga yung installation nyo of solar RE kaya nagbabago yung billing nyo. So, it actually considered. Okay.
Actually, sorry. I think it might be better kung tanongin ko yung dad about it kasi siya yung nag-install ng solar dito sa bahay. Siya yung nag-install nun. So, baka siya mas may makakaalam doon.
So, ano ba? Mas lumala ba o nabawasan? Nabawasan naman po, sir, no?
Yeah, nabawasan naman po. Pero yun nga, nasira yung inverter namin. So, hindi kami nakakagamit ngayon kasi di pa na-repair due to the pandemic.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yung distributed generation thing, tawag doon. Sige, so parang ino-notify Meralco about it. Tapos, applicable lang siya kung mas malaki yung, tawag doon. Mas malaki yung na-generate na power kasi sa ginagamit namin. So, parang may excess. Tsaka lang pwede
actually, yun yung most beneficial. Yung may excess power from the... Actually, dapat kailangan kasing ipaalam yan sa Meralco, sa utility. Kasi yung mga metro natin sa bahay, yung traditional meter, unidirectional yan. Kaya pag hindi natin napalitan yung power na yung mga metro natin sa bahay, tapos nag-install tayo ng solar RE facilities, tapos may excess energy tayo, it would register na one flow kasi unidirectional yung meter. Kasi pag mag-install ka ng solar RE, dapat bidirectional yan. So may import at export billing meter. So may cases, may ibang customers, hindi nagpaalam sa utility, sa Meralco, may excess energy sila, mas tumaas pa yung bill nila. Instead
well,
yun yung
intention lang ng dad ko siguro so far is mabawasan talaga yung consumption namin. Kasi yung sinusupply pa lang ng solar is mostly yung mga ilaw, yung mga appliances. Pero yung mga big time, like kunyari yung ref, or yung mga ref mostly. Hindi pa siya talaga kasama dun sa
Nakaayos ulit.
alternate power supply namin.
So, ano yun, sir? Nakababad yun yung solar nyo po?
Wait, what do you mean po?
Kung solely serving niya yung mga loads na yun nabanggit mo kanina, hindi siya naka-parallel sa supply niyo po?
May may breaker kami na magpapalit kung sa solar siyang magtatap or sa Meralco.
Parang may transfer switch po.
May transfer switch po kami. Tapos, usually may threshold yung inverter. So like, pag bumaba siya sa certain threshold, papalitan na namin ito para hindi masira yung thing. Pero over time, nare-relegate siya. And dahil nga sa pandemic, di pa siya naaayos, sadly.
May I know po kung anong capacity ng inverter?
Capacity?
Nasa 1 kilowatt? Or...
Oh no, I'm actually...
Medyo maliit lang po siya, no?
I'm actually not sure. Ano siya? Oh no. Di ako sure. Makakakita ba yun sa likod ng box?
Nasa inverter po yan, yung nasa nameplate.
Nameplate.
Sige, okay lang naman.
Next time lang yan.
No problem.
Sorry. Pero, siguro pag mas malaki yung inverter, siguro mas malaki yung capacity niya.
Yes.
I mean, may reason hindi nasama yung ref. So, ayun. Actually, yeah. Sorry sir, medyo na hug yung time.
Okay yun. Actually, that's a good question. Inline actually dun sa DG, dami kasi ngayon, even my friends in AIM are trying to start solar panel startups. Ang dami naglipa na solar panel startups. Sobrang dami nila. And is this something na may blessing ang Meralco, or do you really actively promote na yung mga consumers mismo bumili, magpakabit? Anong take nyo dun, Sir Lemuel?
Sa paglipanan ng mga solar. Actually, di na may iwasan yan. Like I mentioned before, it's inevitable. Yung change nga po dun sa current landscape natin sa Benito.
Actually, so, sir, I think sa subdivision namin, we kind of started the trend noon kasi subdivision siya. So walang high-rise building na makaka-disrupt ng solar power generation namin. Tapos, subdivision, nung nag-start kami, may ibang households din dito sa subdivision na nag-start na rin mag-solar para makabawas sila sa electricity consumption in the long run. I mean, investment siya, pero worth siya kasi nakakabawas ng consumption in general. Mas makakatipid sa kuryente. Yes. Okay, sorry sir. Continue.
So, yun nga, yung as a utility, we need to prepare with the integration of this small scale kasi hindi lang puro benefits, meron ring challenges tsaka issues yung pag-integrate. So, plans have already in place para nga ma-mitigate yung impact nito mga RE. So, actually we're promoting naman yung integration of nasa consumer naman yun kaya nga we empower our customers to have so that they can generate their own power through these solar technologies. Yun naman yung pinaka-goal talaga nung sa smart grid to empower our customers.
Sorry sir, one last question. May movements ba yung Meralco na mag-push to, just like Germany, yung 100% renewable energy?
Actually, it's the country's policy or roadmap siguro. Hindi ko lang sure kung kaya kung nasa yun ang target, pero ang masasabi ko lang dapat yung supply mix natin is optimized. So nowadays di natin syempre madi-disregard yung mga coal as baseload power plants kasi mas cost effective sila. So actually in the long run, ang target talaga is to increase share of renewables. Di ko lang sure kung ang target po is 100% siguro in 3 decades or 2 decades. But to increase yung share of renewables, and the system is actually preparing for that. marami rin kasing issue with regards sa renewable. So intermittent tsaka variable kasi itong mga REs natin.
Especially solar. Kasi half the
Yes.
time wala siya. Half of the time down siya.
Tsaka tuwing cloudy season, yun, naharangan yung araw. So variable yung output niya. Then may technical issues sa system.
Okay, yun lang po. Sir, pasensya na po sa bala.
No problem.
Alright.
Okay.
Thank you guys. Meron pa ba? Actually, it's already 3:36 pala. So I guess we need to wrap this up. And kung may follow-up questions kayo, don't hesitate to email Sir Limuel. So again, maraming salamat po Sir Limuel Storke for having your presentation shared today. And I hope sa mga susunod pang 190 semesters magkaroon din ng ganitong talk. Kasi first time ko pa lang din itong makita. And I think this opened up a lot of things na ang dami palang corporate responsibilities ng Meralco. Dami niyo palang ginagawa. So I think pati yung mga YouTube viewers natin matutuwa. So ayun, maraming salamat Sir. Michelle, may announce ka ba? Wala naman.
Wala naman for now. Unless you'd like to announce the other talks that we have lined up for EEE 190.
I-confirm pa yun.
Sige.
I-announce na lang sa outlet. So maraming salamat ulit, Sir Limuel. So we need to end this now. Any messages sa ating mga 190 students?
Better na may ganitong technology kahit may pandemic. So let's thank God na may gift of technology na kahit remotely nakakapag-aral tayo. Then good luck na lang sa future endeavors nyo sa course na EEE 190 and the next course yung sa undergrad student project. So hope we would meet in the field and good luck. God bless. Thank you and keep safe.
All right, thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you students. Thank you Sir Limuel.
Okay. Thank you Sir Chris Ron. Thank you Miss Michelle.
Thank you then. I'll be ending the meeting now. You guys have a great day and stay safe.